Captain Elias Reed felt the burning cold of cryosleep fade from his limbs as the system gradually warmed his body. His eyes opened to the soft blue glow of the revival chamber, a sight he'd been prepared for, but that still felt alien after what his mind registered as mere hours of sleep. In reality, nearly 3 millennia had passed. "Captain Reed, welcome to the year 5203, said a calm voice as a figure stepped into view. "I'm Dr. Maya Chen, Chief Medical Officer of the Endurance." Elias struggled to sit up, his muscles remembering their purpose with each passing second. "The fleet?" he asked, his voice rough from disuse. "All 7 ships survived the journey. You're the last command officer to be awakened." The Endurance was humanity's last hope. One of 7 massive generation ships that escaped Earth's destruction, carrying 20,000 people in cryosleep and another 5,000 who would live and die during the journey, maintaining the ships and advancing human technology. Their mission: to ensure humanity's survival, and someday, to return for justice. "Status report," Elias demanded as Dr. Chen helped him stand. "The Endurance leads the fleet. We've reached the outer boundary of what was once consortium space. The descendants of our maintenance crews have prepared for this moment for generations. Captain, we've evolved." Elias followed Dr. Chen through corridors that were both familiar and strange. The basic layout matched his memories, but the materials, the technology, everything had advanced beyond what he remembered from before Earth's fall. They entered the command center, where officers worked at stations that featured interfaces unlike anything from his time. They manipulated holographic displays with subtle gestures, some seemingly controlling systems through neural interfaces. A tall woman with dark skin approached. "Captain Reed, I'm Admiral Imani Wright. My ancestors served under you as engineering crew. Welcome to the new age of humanity." Elias saluted out of instinct. "Admiral, I see much has changed." 3,000 years of isolated development tends to do that," she replied with a slight smile. "We've advanced beyond anything the consortium could imagine. While in transit, we've developed technologies they never dreamed of: quantum weaponry, consciousness transfer, synthetic biology, even rudimentary time dilation fields. And the enemy." Admiral Wright gestured to a massive holographic display showing a map of the galaxy, focusing on a region marked in red. "The consortium has fractured. What was once a unified empire is now 12 competing territories. They've grown complacent and technologically stagnant. Their leadership has forgotten why they feared humanity enough to destroy our homeworld." Elias felt a familiar pain at the mention of Earth. Images flashed in his mind. The blue planet burning as consortium warships bombarded its surface, billions dying in hours, the desperate evacuation as the last ships flood into the void. "Show me," he said. The display shifted to show real-time footage of a nearby consortium world. The alien architecture was familiar from Earth's final days, the distinctive curved structures and gleaming towers. But the civilization appeared less advanced than humanity had become. "They've barely progressed since they destroyed Earth," said a new voice. Commander Victor Okafor, Chief Tactical Officer, stepped forward. Like many born during the journey, his features showed subtle enhancements: slightly larger eyes adapted for low light, more efficient muscle structure, neural interface ports at his temples. "They destroyed our world out of fear of what we might become," Elias said softly. "And in doing so, they created exactly what they feared: poetic justice." Admiral Wright agreed. "The chosen were preserved from Earth to remember, to guide us. The rest of us were born in space, raised on stories of a blue world we've never seen. Every child knows what was taken from us." The command team gathered around a tactical table as Admiral Wright activated a detailed holographic display of a consortium outpost. "We'll begin with intelligence gathering," the Admiral explained. "The planet Varga is a border world, lightly defended. A small team will infiltrate their archives to learn what became of the leadership that ordered Earth's destruction." "I want to lead that team," Elias said immediately. Admiral Wright exchanged glances with her officers. With respect, Captain, you're still adjusting to our time. You were preserved as a symbol, as a witness. I watched Earth burn, Elias interrupted. I gave the order to flee rather than fight a hopeless battle. I've carried that decision for what feels like days to me. I need to be part of this. After a moment of silence, the Admiral nodded. Very well. Commander Okafor will prepare a team. Hours later, Elias stood in the equipment bay as technicians fitted him with an infiltration suit. The material felt like liquid against his skin, but hardened into an armor more resilient than anything from his time. Neural interface calibrated, said a technician, adjusting something at Elias's temple. Suddenly, information flooded his consciousness. Tactical data, team positions, environmental readings. Commander Okafor approached with 3 others. Your team, Captain. Lieutenant Sato, Infiltration Specialist. Dr. Katri, Xenolinguist. Specialist Zhang, Systems Expert. Zhang stepped forward. She couldn't have been more than 20, with circuitry-like patterns visible beneath her skin. Captain, I'll be your data interface. The ship's AI has prepared language packets and cultural updates so you can interact without raising suspicion. As they boarded the stealth shuttle, Elias felt a surge of anticipation. For 3,000 years, humanity had remembered. Now, they would act. The shuttle dropped out of FTL near Varga, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to consortium sensors. The planet below was a swirl of blue-green, painfully reminiscent of Earth. Approaching drop zone, announced the pilot. Atmosphere is breathable, but contains trace elements your systems will filter. Local civilization is primarily Targeth, a minor species within the former consortium. Any weapons? Elias asked. Non-lethal only, Commander Okafor replied. We're gathering intelligence, not starting a war. At least, not yet. The shuttle descended through cloud cover, landing in a dense forest several kilometers from the main settlement. As the team disembarked, Elias marveled at how silent everything was. No engine noise, no disturbance of the surrounding vegetation. Adaptive camouflage engaged, said Lieutenant Sato as their suits changed color to match the environment. We'll approach the archive complex from the east. Less security. They moved swiftly through the alien forest. Elias found his enhanced body responding with precision and strength beyond what he remembered. The neural interface provided constant updates, translating alien text he saw on distant structures. When they reached the edge of the settlement, Elias was struck by how ordinary it seemed. Alien, yes, with buildings that curved and spiraled in ways human architecture never would, but still recognizably a community. Beings moved about their business, unaware that humans, a species they likely thought extinct, watched from the shadows. The central archives are in that structure, Dr. Katri whispered, pointing to a dome-like building. According to our intelligence, it contains historical records going back 5,000 years. They waited until nightfall, then approached the archive using service tunnels that ran beneath the settlement. Specialist Zhang interfaced with the security systems, her eyes glowing faintly as she communicated directly with the alien technology. I'm in, she said after a moment. Security disabled for the next 20 minutes. After that, they'll notice the loop. Inside, the archive was a vast chamber filled with crystalline data storage units. Zhang approached a central terminal, placing her hand on its surface. Information flowed through her enhanced systems as she searched for records of Earth's destruction. Found something, she said after several tense minutes. Historical archives from the period of Earth's destruction. And something odd. The records are fragmented, redacted. Someone's tried to hide the truth, Commander Okafor observed. Zhang continued searching. The attack on Earth wasn't a unanimous decision by the consortium. It was pushed by a faction called the Preservers. They claimed to have foreseen that humans would eventually overthrow the consortium. They destroyed our world based on a prediction. Elias asked, anger rising in his voice. Not just that. Zhang's expression changed to one of shock. Captain, the preservers didn't just destroy Earth. They took samples, human genetic material. They'd been experimenting on humans for 3,000 years. The revelation hit Elias like a physical blow. Are there living human captives? Zhang nodded slowly. According to these records, yes. On a world called Sanctum Prime. It's the preserver homeworld. Download everything, Elias ordered, his voice hard. Every record, every location. If there are humans being held captive, we're going to find them. There's more, Zhang said, her voice trembling. The preservers still exist. They operate in secret, controlling the former consortium from the shadows. And according to these files, they're still afraid of humanity. They've been monitoring deep space, watching for our return. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. We've been detected, Lieutenant Sato warned. Security systems are resetting. Do you have the data? Elias asked Zhang. She nodded. Everything about the preservers, their worlds, their defenses. Then we're leaving, Elias said. Back to the shuttle. Move. They fled through the corridors as security forces mobilized. Their enhanced speed and stealth allowed them to evade most patrols, but near the exit, they encountered a squad of Targeth guards. Non-lethal force only. Commander Okafor reminded them as they engaged. The fight was brief. Humanity's advanced technology making quick work of the guards without killing them. As they raced back through the forest to their shuttle, Elias's mind was racing. Earth hadn't just been destroyed. Its people had been harvested, experimented on for millennia. The mission had changed. This wasn't just about revenge for the dead. It was about rescuing the living. The shuttle lifted off, accelerating rapidly into the night sky as planetary defenses finally detected them and began firing. But it was too late. The human vessel vanished into FTL, carrying with it secrets that would change everything. Back aboard the Endurance, Admiral Wright listened gravely to their report. This complicates matters, she said when they finished. Our original plan was to strike at multiple consortium worlds simultaneously, forcing them to acknowledge what they did to Earth. But now we have a specific target, Elias said. The preservers, and we have human prisoners to rescue. Admiral Wright studied the star chart showing Sanctum Prime, the preserver homeworld. It was deep within former consortium space, heavily defended according to the stolen data. We'll need to adjust our strategy, she said finally. A direct assault would be costly, even with our technological advantages. We need infiltration first, Commander Okafor suggested. A small team to confirm the presence of human captives and disable their key defenses from within. Elias stepped forward. I volunteer to lead that mission as well. This time, Admiral Wright didn't argue. Prepare your team, Captain. The fleet will position itself at the edge of their sensor range, ready to strike when you give the signal. As the others left to prepare, Admiral Wright held Elias back. Captain, there's something you should know. The children born in space during our journey, they're different from those who left Earth. I've noticed the enhancements, Elias said. It's more than physical adaptations. Each generation was modified further, optimized for survival in space and eventual contact with the enemy. The humans of today are not exactly the same species that left Earth. Elias considered this. Does that matter? We're still human, whatever changes we've undergone. That's what I believe, the Admiral said. But the preservers destroyed Earth because they feared what humans might become. When they see what we actually have become, she left the thought unfinished. As Elias prepared for the most important mission of his very long life, he wondered what the preservers would think when they realized their worst fears had come true. Humanity had not only survived, it had thrived, evolved, and returned. And it had come for answers. The infiltration shuttle approached Sanctum Prime under the cover of a massive ion storm that obscured sensor readings. Captain Elias Reeves stood in the cockpit, watching as lightning danced across the hull's stealth plating. "The storm will cover our approach," said Lieutenant Sato, piloting the vessel with practiced ease. "But we'll need to land at least 50 kilometers from the preserver facility. Any closer, and we risk detection." Elias nodded. His team was small, just 5 people, each chosen for specific skills. Besides Sato and himself, there was Zhang with her enhanced data processing abilities, Dr. Katri for translation, and a new addition, Specialist Lian Zhao, a combat expert born 3 generations into the journey, whose body contained synthetic enhancements beyond anything Elias had seen. "Atmospheric entry in 30 seconds, Sato announced. "Everyone strap in." The shuttle shuddered as it hit the upper atmosphere, the ion storm battering their shields. Elias felt the pressure increase as they descended rapidly toward the surface. Scanners confirmed the coordinates from the Varga archives. Zhang reported, her eyes glowing as she interfaced directly with the shuttle systems. "The preserver facility is built into a mountain range. Heavy security, but there's an underground maintenance tunnel that might provide access." They landed in a dense forest, the shuttle's adaptive camouflage immediately rendering it nearly invisible among the vegetation. As they stepped outside, Elias was struck by the alien beauty of Sanctum Prime. Crystal formations jutted from the ground, catching the light of twin moons overhead. "Atmosphere is safe," Dr. Katri confirmed, checking her readings. "But there's something strange in the air, some kind of psychoactive compound at very low levels." "The preservers are telepathic," Zhang explained. "According to the archives, they modify their environments to enhance their abilities." Zhao unpacked equipment from the shuttle, distributing neural disruptors to each team member. "These should protect our minds from telepathic intrusion. Don't remove them under any circumstances." They moved through the alien landscape with caution, their suits adapting to match the crystalline environment. For hours, they trekked toward the mountain facility, avoiding preserver patrols and automated security drones. "Something's not right," Elias said as they reached the foothills. "Security is lighter than expected." "They're not expecting us," Zhao suggested. "Or they want us to think that," Sato countered. Zhang suddenly stopped, her hand raised for silence. Her enhanced senses detected something beyond normal human perception. Movement ahead. Not preservers. Different energy signature. They took cover among crystal formations as a patrol emerged from the trees. Tall, insectoid beings with carapaces that shimmered in the moonlight. "Mantids," whispered Dr. Katri. "According to the archives, they're a client species genetically modified by the preservers to serve as guards." The patrol passed without noticing them, and the team continued toward the mountain facility. As they approached, the true scale of the preserver stronghold became apparent, a massive complex built into and through the mountain, with crystalline towers extending from its peak. "The maintenance tunnel entrance should be on the western face," Zhang said, consulting the stolen data. "It was designed for drone access, but we should fit." They found the entrance hidden behind a waterfall, a narrow passage barely large enough for a person. One by one, they squeezed through, emerging into a dimly lit service tunnel. "There's a junction ahead," John reported as they moved deeper into the mountain. According to the schematics, the left path leads to the central research facility, where the human captives are likely held. The tunnel opened into a larger maintenance corridor, lined with humming machinery. They moved silently, avoiding occasional maintenance drones that floated past on incomprehensible errands. "We're getting close," John whispered. "I'm detecting human life signs ahead." They reached the sealed door at the end of the corridor. Zhang interfaced with the control panel, her eyes glowing as she bypassed the security protocols. The door slid open silently, revealing a sight that stopped them all in their tracks. A vast chamber stretched before them, lined with transparent stasis pods. Inside each pod was a human figure. Some appeared normal, others showed signs of genetic modification or experimentation. Hundreds of pods filled the chamber, each containing what appeared to be a living human being. "My God," Elias breathed, approaching the nearest pod. Inside was a woman who looked to be in her 30s, suspended in a clear fluid, eyes closed as if sleeping. "How many are there?" "I count 342 active stasis pods," John replied, her voice tight with emotion. "And there are adjacent chambers with more." Dr. Caftry moved to a central console, interfacing her translator with the alien technology. "These aren't just random experiments," she said after a moment. "According to these records, they're organized by generations. These people are descendants of humans taken from Earth before its destruction. They've been breeding them, studying them." Elias fought to control his rage. "Can we free them?" Zhang examined the control systems. "The stasis technology is complex. Improper deactivation could kill them. We need more time to understand the system." "Time we don't have," said Sato, checking the security feeds. "I'm detecting increased activity in the upper levels. They know something's wrong. We need to alert the fleet." Elias decided. "Zhang, can you access their main communication systems from here? If we can disable their planetary defenses, the Endurance can move in for extraction." Zhang nodded, moving to a larger console. "I'll try. Their systems are strange. Not like anything I've seen before." As she worked, Elias examined more of the stasis pods. Each contained a person in suspended animation. Men, women, some barely more than children. All of them descendants of Earth, preserved like specimens in a cosmic zoo. "Captain," called Dr. Caftry from another console. "I found something. A central database containing research data on the human subjects. And there's more information about why Earth was destroyed." Elias joined her at the console. "What does it say?" "The preservers are an ancient species," she explained, reading the translated text. "They've guided the evolution of countless worlds for millions of years. Their ability to see potential futures showed them that humanity would eventually develop in unpredictable ways, beyond their control. They destroyed our world because they couldn't control us." Elias asked, disgust evident in his voice. "Not exactly," Caftry continued. "According to this, they saw multiple potential futures where humans developed technologies that could threaten the preservers' dominance. But they also saw futures where humans became essential allies against something worse. What could be worse than genocide?" Dr. Caftry looked up from the console, her expression grave. "The records are vague, but they mention something called the Void, an existential threat that emerges every few million years. The preservers believe humanity has some unique quality that might be needed to combat this threat. So they destroyed Earth but preserved human samples to study this quality," Elias concluded. "They committed genocide while telling themselves it was for some greater good." "I'm in," Zhang announced suddenly. "I've accessed their defense grid. I can create a temporary window for the fleet." "Do it," Elias ordered, "and download everything about these human captives and the preservers' plans." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red light bathed the chamber as security protocols activated. "We've been detected," Sato warned, drawing her weapon. "Multiple hostiles converging on our position." "How long until you can open a window for the fleet?" Elias asked Zhang. 3 minutes to bypass the final firewalls," she replied, fingers moving rapidly across the alien interface. "Zhao, Sato, secure the entrances," Elias ordered. "Caftry, keep downloading that research data. We need to know everything about these captives before we attempt to free them." The first attackers reached them moments later, manted guards flooding through the main entrance. Zhao moved with inhuman speed, her enhanced body a blur as she engaged the first wave. "Defense grid compromised," Zhang reported amidst the chaos. "Sending coordinates to the Endurance now." Above the planet, the human fleet that had been hiding at the edge of the system suddenly accelerated toward Sanctum Prime. Led by the massive Endurance, 7 warships dropped out of FTL directly above the preserver facility, their advanced weapons overwhelming the temporarily disabled planetary defenses. In the research chamber, Elias and his team fought to hold their position as more guards poured in. Zhao and Seto established a defensive perimeter while John continued working to understand the stasis technology. "Captain, incoming transmission from the Endurance," John called out. Admiral Wright's voice came through their comms. "Captain Reed, we've breached their orbital defenses. Ground forces are deploying now. What's your status?" "We've found them, Admiral," Elias replied, firing his weapon at another wave of attackers. "Hundreds of human captives in stasis. We need medical teams and specialists in alien technology." "On their way," the Admiral confirmed. "Hold your position." The battle intensified as a new type of enemy entered the chamber. Tall, crystalline beings that seemed to shimmer with inner light. Unlike the mantids, they moved with deliberate purpose, and the air around them distorted with psychic energy. "Preservers," Dr. Capri warned. "The neural disruptors won't block them completely." The lead preserver stopped at the entrance to the chamber, surveying the scene with faceted eyes that reflected the red emergency lighting. When it spoke, the words formed directly in their minds, bypassing their translators. "You should not have returned," it said. "You do not understand what you are interfering with." Elias stepped forward, facing the alien being. "We understand perfectly. You destroyed our world, kidnapped our people, and experimented on them for 3,000 years. The preserver's crystalline body pulsed with light. We preserved what was necessary. The prophecy showed us that humanity would bring change that would destroy our way of life. We could not allow that. So you committed genocide," Elias said, his voice hard. "We did what was necessary for the greater balance," the preserver insisted. "These specimens contain the genetic qualities that make your kind unique without the destabilizing influence of your civilization." Zhang suddenly called out from the console. "Captain, I've figured out the stasis systems. We can begin revival procedures safely." The preserver took a step forward, its body flaring with bright light. "You cannot take them. They are not like you. They are perfected, controlled. Your kind is dangerous, unpredictable. They're people," Elias said firmly, "not your specimens or experiments, and we're taking them home." The chamber shook as explosions echoed from above, the human ground forces breaching the upper levels of the facility. The preserver seemed to consider this development, its crystalline body shifting colors. "You have changed," it observed, studying Elias and his team. "You are not the same species we eliminated. You have evolved." "We had 3,000 years," Elias replied. 3,000 years to remember what you did, to advance, to prepare. The prophecy was right. Humanity has changed the galaxy. Just not in the way you expected." More human soldiers poured into the chambers, securing the area. Medical teams began assessing the stasis pods, preparing for the delicate process of revival. The preserver remained still, surrounded by human weapons. "What will you do with us?" it asked. Elias considered the question. Part of him wanted revenge, to destroy the preservers as they had destroyed Earth, but that would make humanity no better than them. "That's not for me to decide alone," he said finally. "You'll answer to a human tribunal. We'll learn everything about what you've done, why you did it, and what you know about this void threat you claim to be preparing for. And then we'll decide if there's a place for your kind in the galaxy we're building." In the days that followed, the human fleet secured Sanctum Prime and began the careful process of reviving the captive humans. Many were disoriented, knowing nothing of Earth except as stories passed down through generations in the research facilities. Some showed signs of genetic manipulation, enhanced abilities, or altered physical traits, but all were undeniably human. Admiral Wright established a command center in what had been the Preserver Council chamber. The crystalline walls now displayed the emblem of Earth, a symbol none of the rescued captives had ever seen in person. "The Preserver leadership has surrendered," she informed Elias as they watched medical teams caring for the recently awakened captives. "Without their central world, their influence over the former consortium is collapsing." "And the information about this void threat?" Elias asked. "Our scientists are analyzing it now. If it's real, we'll need to prepare, but on our terms, not theirs." A young woman approached them hesitantly. She had been among the first captives revived. Sophia Chen, a 19th-generation descendant of humans taken before Earth's destruction. "Is it true," she asked, her voice soft, "that there are more humans out there? That you built ships and crossed the stars?" "It's true," Elias confirmed. 7 ships escaped Earth's destruction. We've been traveling for 3,000 years, building, preparing, remembering. "We remembered too," Sophia said. "Not Earth. None of us has ever seen it. But we remembered being human, even when they tried to change us. We passed down stories in secret, kept our humanity alive." Admiral Wright stepped forward. "You'll all have a place with us, if you want it. We've established colonies on several worlds already, or you can join us on the ships." "What happens now?" Sophia asked. "Now that you've found us, now that you've defeated them." Elias looked out through the crystal walls at the vista of Sanctum Prime below. The human fleet hung in the sky above, no longer hidden, no longer fleeing. "Now we build something new," he said. "The preservers destroyed Earth because they feared what humanity might become. They were right to be afraid, but not for the reasons they thought. We've become stronger, yes, more advanced, but we've also carried with us the memory of what was lost and the determination to never let it happen again." He turned back to Sophia. 3,000 years ago, we fled to survive. Now we've returned not just for revenge, but to reclaim our place in the galaxy. And this time, we're not going anywhere. As word spread throughout the former consortium territories that humans had returned and defeated the mysterious preservers, other species began reaching out. Many had never supported Earth's destruction, but had been powerless to prevent it. Now they sought alliances with this reborn human civilization that had accomplished what no one thought possible. 6 months after the liberation of Sanctum Prime, the first human diplomats arrived on worlds that had once been part of the consortium. They came not as conquerors, but as equals, offering trade, cultural exchange, and mutual protection. On the newly established human colony world of New Terra, Elias stood on a hillside watching settlers, both those from the ships and those rescued from preserver facilities, building homes together. Dr. Chen joined him, gazing at the settlement below. "It's not Earth," she said softly, "but it's a beginning. Earth lives on in us," Elias replied. "In what we remember, in what we create. The preservers tried to end our story, but they only forced us to write a new chapter." In orbit above New Terra, the Endurance and its sister ships remained vigilant. The threat of the void that the preservers had feared might still be real, waiting somewhere in the darkness between galaxies. But humanity would face it together, not as specimens in a laboratory or as refugees fleeing destruction, but as a unified people who had overcome extinction itself. 3,000 years after Earth's destruction, humanity had not only survived, it had returned to take its place among the stars. And this time, no force in the galaxy would take that away.